In a TV game show, if you were asked to name an Armenian composer, your answer would probably be either Gomidas or Kachaturian. And you would be absolutely right. Gomidas is the fountainhead of contemporary Armenian music, and through his songs has set the tone for a national school of musical thought. While Kachaturian is the face of Armenian culture, shall we say, ambassador at large to the world of music. His saber dance is, of course, the Armenian calling card for the world. Yet, there are many other composers who are essential figures in the development of Armenian music. Creative artists, visionary minds, inventive composers who are little known outside of Armenia. For example, Edvard Mirzoyan is perhaps one of the most eloquent voices of contemporary Armenian music. Although his creative output is limited, still, his symphony for strings and timpani, cello sonata, and string quartet are staples of the repertoire. He has written very little for the piano, just the 1971 poem and the 1984 album For My Granddaughter. The album came about when the French publisher Alphonse Leduc was touring the former Soviet Union in 1982 and paid a courtesy call to Mirzoyan, then the president of the Armenian Composers Union. During the visit, Leduc proposed to Mirzoyan that he write a piano piece for publication by Leduc House. Mirzoyan thanked him and promptly discarded the idea, assuming that, as was the practice in the Soviet Union, one had to submit the work for review first, and when and if approved, it was made public, published, and performed. During the ensuing months, Leduc kept in touch with Mirzoyan, reminding him of their communication, but Mirzoyan paid no attention whatsoever. However, when Leduc finally sent a telegram to confirm their interest in publishing, the composer got the point and set to work. Mirzoyan recalled an incident that had taken place a few years earlier when he was in the office of the Soviet Deputy Minister of Culture in Moscow, seated at the piano, doodling, and was playing two notes back and forth. When the minister inquired about the origin of the so-called theme, Mirzoyan claimed ignorance. But the theme was stuck in his head, and he went on to use it as the central kernel of Sad Waltz. Tikran Mansuryan, perhaps the most successful of the middle generation composers in Armenia, has created a large body of works in different styles. The four Hayren were composed originally in 1967 for mezzo-soprano and piano on quatrains by the 16th century poet Nahabet Kuchag. Recently, Ara Arakelian, a friend of Mansuryan's, had been visiting him at his home in Yerevan and heard a live recording of the Hayren. Deeply impressed, Ara suggested that the composer transcribed the vocal line for viola and specifically for Kim Kashkashian. This new version was premiered in Basel, Switzerland in the fall of 2005 by Kim Kashkashian with the composer at the piano. As is the case in his Hayren, Mansuryan's musical style is characterized by a synthesis of ancient Armenian musical traditions fused with contemporary Western compositional methods. Here is, in translation, Kuchag's poem, which is the basis of Mansuryan's Hayren. Prophet David, I have sinned. Understand the state I'm in. Above all treasures in this world, I love my life's only light, this girl. If such a creature came your way, you'd keep her in your tent all day. You'd sing her psalms while it was light, then hold her close throughout the night. Lazar Saryan, the son of the famed painter Mardiros Saryan, like Mirzoyan, produced relatively few works, but they are distinguished by their exquisite elegance, profound content, and colorful instrumentation. The three postludes were written after the 1988 Armenian earthquake and reflect the composer's reaction to the event as articulated in the preface of the score. Saryan states, "This period was decisive not only for the fate of the Armenian people, but also for my own art."